Man, this is one of those days in the wrestling biz that absolutely suck. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com and FightfulSelect.com, Katana Chance, aka Kacy Catanzaro, and Kayden Carter, aka Lacey Lane, have been released by WWE. In addition to them, reportedly Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, and Shayna Baszler as well. WWE also dumped the gentleman who had been one of the co-hosts of The Bump, and they also got rid of, I believe, their only remaining female staffer on the writing team. So that's great as far as representation. Really bums me out here, not just because of the fact that these two are incredibly talented, longest reigning NXT Women's Tag Team Champions of all time, former WWE main roster Tag Team Champions as well, but also because I just interviewed these two and they're wonderful and they're hardworking and they're kind. And in the very short time they've had in the ring in 2025, I think they only had maybe 2 televised matches total. They got over with the crowd. They really got the oohs and ahs. And for speaking of both of them very recently, literally the last 2 weeks, they told me they got a lot of respect from their peers backstage. I mean, Kayden even talked about getting great advice from Cody Rhodes, the then undisputed WWE freaking champion. So the fact that they got oohs and ahs, despite barely being used, despite the fact that they have a pedigree and a legacy in NXT, which could certainly use some more experienced veterans, despite the fact that they had the respect of their peers, they were just a number to the TKO balance sheet. It's really unfortunate. I know this is part of the business. AEW's done it too, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other thing. But there's a big difference between AEW rarely doing it and stacking their cards with as much talent as possible, for better or worse, but usually for the better, and WWE having 4 5-match PLE cards, which I know some people will say, whoa, they just want to keep the show shorter. I'm a little more skeptical than y'all being in corporate America. I think it's more of the financial side of things and not wanting to pay as many people. So very unfortunate to hear. Of course, Braun Strowman being released again, mind-boggled yet again. I know he's older. I know he's a bit slower, but this is a guy who has always gotten over. And he's one of your more popular stars. He's somebody who's been around for a while. And when you brought him back, he got a great ovation. And look, the guy doesn't have to be a world champion, but he can be an attraction. And look, I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, but I like the occasional big man, you know? And it's just unfortunate he wasn't really used. Omos wasn't really used. I don't know if Omos is on the chopping block too. But like, these are guys that could be utilized in the right fashion. They have their spots, especially Braun with the strength spots and everything. And Dakota Kai, like, come on, man. Like, she's got over really well in the IC title tournament, and they just chose not to do anything with her. And Shayna Baszler, been there for a while, but always been a reliable veteran. I believe she was one of the longest reigning, if not the longest reigning NXT champion of all time as far as the women go. Maybe Mandy Rose broke that record, or Asuka. She was one of the longest reigning. I feel like she held that title, a couple times for like a year plus. So she had a great run. Just very, very unfortunate to hear. I hope all of them land on their feet. And if you want to learn more about Kayden and Katana, I would strongly suggest, and I'm not just saying this to plug my stuff, check out the recent interviews I did with them. I also uploaded some clips on here because you really learn a lot about them that WWE never showed you. And I think that's the biggest tragic flaw, right, with the wrestling business thriving right now, with AEW also getting millions of dollars in TV. There are a lot of great personalities, a lot of untapped potential, but there's only so much room for so many people to show out. So I sincerely hope everybody who's affected lands on their feet. I'll talk to y'all soon.